Today we are reviewing episode 4 of Love on the Spectrum U.S. Season 2, so please stick around. Hi friends, my name is Claire and this is my channel, Woodshed Theory. Here, I make content about what it is like to live as an adult on the autism spectrum and whatever else feels good to me. So if that sounds good to you, or if you're feeling particularly gracious today, and I hope that you are, and I know that you are, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, ring the bell. I almost forgot to mention that I put out videos a few times a week, so click the like and the share. Interacting with my videos really helps a lot. It's like paying me, but it's free. Episode 4. You know what that means? Only 3 more episodes left to watch. I hope you're enjoying all of the content that I'm pumping out this week. I think I talked about it in my last episode when we discussed episode 3, that this can be a difficult show for me to watch. As a late diagnosed autistic person, I did all of my dating and all of that pre-diagnosis. Yeah, I see myself, a lot of myself in these people. And it's not always easy to look back at my pre-diagnosed life. Not that this is, it's a hard conversation we have a lot in the community. Like I have changed a lot since my diagnosis, but I'm still at my core the same person. And I have had a lot of these same experiences. So yeah, it's just like looking back through time at myself can be difficult. But let's go anyway. Danny. We start the episode with Danny. This is our first time starting an episode where it's not Connor. He does not come first in this episode. In this episode, Danny finishes up her date with Jake. The Hershey kiss joke, gag, what would you call it? Icebreaker seems to work pretty well. They go downstairs in the restaurant. There's a piano and he plays for her and they sing together. And that's pretty cute. I want to shout out to Danny because it seems like even though she is super into him and ready to take things to the next level and really feels like this is the right thing, she seems to be respectful of his boundaries on this date. Although when she does hug him at the end, it's a lingering hug and you can kind of tell that she wants to go in for the kiss. Well, she's talking about how she wants to in the commentary as well, but good on you, Danny, for respecting boundaries. I think that she's very straightforward at the end, which I was a little bit shocked about. She asks Jake, like, well, okay, now that we've been on a date, does that change your feelings towards me? How is this going? Which I think I appreciate, but dates are so confusing anyway. So I appreciate that she was so straightforward, but then I also know that you're not supposed to be so straightforward. It's supposed to be like, I don't know. I know what you're supposed to do neurotypically. I know those like steps and what the right and wrong is, but like I'm not judging her for not doing those things because I've been there too. Anyway, Jake seems to be like, yeah, things seem to be going well and we can continue to explore this, which I think is fair for where he's at in the situation right now. Later, Danny has a sit down with her aunt and uncle and they kind of talk about how the date went. She ends up in tears, which I felt bad about because it is apparent to her that she feels more strongly about Jake than he does about her. And she had been hoping it was going to be a much quicker match. But it does seem that she understands that it's not a no, it's just a let's hold on and see where this goes. So I'm hoping that she is able to continue in that direction and feel comfortable with that with him. I like what her aunt said, something akin to, there's a different path. It's just not the path that you were thinking that you would be on. So hopefully those things go well and that Danny is learning to be a bit more flexible. Takes two to tango. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It takes two to tango. What do I mean by that? Just because she has certain boundaries in the relationship doesn't mean she's the only person there. So they both need to respect each other's boundaries and find a level of comfort where both of their boundaries meet. Does that make sense? Anyway, Danny, I think it's really brave of you to be on camera talking about all this stuff, because I don't think that I could, or I don't know if I could do it. I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. Maybe I could, looking back, like if I was diagnosed earlier, but I'm glad that I didn't have to make mistakes in front of the world. Yeah. This whole show is just a lot. It's a lot to watch. Tanner. Really liking Tanner. He did a great job on his job with Kate, and he meets again with Jennifer over Zoom. And they talk about the date and do a little bit more coaching for the next date on conversation and how he could do even better next time with his conversation skills and what to talk about. And I appreciated that they put this part in so much, because Tanner gets vulnerable and talks about how he feels pressure to always be in a good mood and show people that he's not upset. And he feels pressure to be the positive one and keep the mood light and happy. And Jennifer is just so kind and compassionate and listens to him and gives him reassurance that he doesn't have to do that all the time. And I feel bad that he does feel like that. I have felt like that in my life as well. Almost like a call to be always performing no matter how you're feeling, and always making people happy no matter how you're feeling. So I'm glad that they talked about that. I think when you're different, no matter what your support needs are, people expect to get a certain behavior from you, like a good behavior, and they don't want to be worried about you. So there's an expectation there to act a certain way. So I'm glad that they addressed that. And I'm glad that she addressed how to even deepen his conversational skills next time he goes on a date with Kate. I thought that was great. And she even encouraged him that if he wants to sit in silence and say, I don't know what to talk about next. Oh, because he talks about having a fear of not knowing what to talk about next. It's okay to say, like, I'm not sure what I want to talk about next, but I'm having a really nice time. Fast forward to the date. I thought he did great with Kate, and I felt like they had a great time. And I was really moved at the end of the date where they're sitting, and you can tell that he's really worked hard to engage Kate in the conversation more. Like, there's been growth there. And then at the end, when he doesn't know what else to talk about anymore, he uses what he's learned in the training with Jennifer of saying, like, I don't know what I want to talk about next, but I'm having a nice time anyway. And I was just cheering Tanner on. It seems like he's enjoying his dating experience with Kate. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes for them. She seems to be having a nice time too. So yeah, good for them. Oh my gosh. How could I forget Journey? I wrote all about Journey. Journey seems great. 18, late diagnosed earlier than a lot of the people watching this, but diagnosed at 17 years old. She seems like the coolest person I've ever seen. She seems really cool. What did I love about Journey? She said she was diagnosed at 17 and that she was happy when she was diagnosed because she had been doing her own research. And if that ain't a late diagnosis, a lot of us feeling alien throughout our lives is a part of our experience. And when we start to suspect that something else might be at play, and we start to do research into autism and it starts to make so much sense. It is a really freeing moment for many people. So I loved that. I just like that they've had Journey on the show so far. Her room, I wrote in capital letters, OMG, your room. Journey, your room is so cool. It is a cottagecore nightmare, which is not really a nightmare, it's a dream. It is, it's pink, it's kawaii, it's beautiful. There's mushrooms, there's plants, there's cute otters. Oh, I just loved it. I just loved it so much. And I'm just so happy that I see a lot of my self as far as like interests, being very artistic. Yeah, I relate to Journey a lot. So I was really excited to see her on the show. Also, I wrote down that she's got a really sweet family. They seem to really support her. Oh my gosh, her outfit for her date, her cute little strawberry sweater, she looked adorable. Yeah, she goes on a date with Kara. She's into women, which I thought was really a cool thing to put on the show because the LGBTQ plus community is a very big part of the neurodiverse community. So I appreciated that they picked somebody who was looking to date same sex. Diversity and inclusion is important in shows like this. I thought that the date went really well. She and Kara had a ton in common. They both had Hello Kitty clips on their bags. They both seemed like they vibed super well. Conversation was natural. Yeah, I wrote good and natural date, natural conversation. They talk about how they both have never been to Pride Month. Maybe they should go together sometime. Journey talks about how she's in pastry school, which I thought was super cool. She brought Kara some cookies that she had made. Kara brought her a cute little rose quartz bracelet, which she seemed to love. Like it was the perfect gift for her. I thought that they were really close, but I was getting the sense that it was a friends vibe kind of thing. And that is how the date ended. Journey decided it was more of a friend thing and that they should hang out and be good friends and text each other and message each other online. But it wasn't really a romantic thing for her. But you know what I loved about it? Journey was like, this is still a great date. Like, what an amazing date. And I met a really good friend and we have a ton in common. So I appreciated that. I'm excited to see Journey's journey through this. Abby and David get to see lions in this episode, which was really, really cool. So yeah, they did more safari stuff. I did want to talk about, in this episode, they get to go relax in those super swanky tubs at these resorts where it's looking over the desert or whatever it is, the safari land, Africa, and no, it's not the outback. That's in Australia. You know what I'm talking about, right? Anyway, they're looking out over Africa and in these beautiful leaning back tubs, and they're having a conversation. I just felt that this was the first time on camera that they filmed a deeper, more intimate moment between her and David, between Abby and David. And I was very touched with how they related to one another. Abby starts off by talking about their collections and what she likes to collect and what he likes to collect. That was kind of used as a segue to talk about a few things that were a little bit deeper, and they talked about what they liked about one another and about how grateful that she was that he had taken her on the trip. I just really appreciated that moment. I felt it was pretty moving. It was nice to know that I don't think the family was watching at that moment, because I was weirded out by that in the last episode. Was the family watching them kissing? It did feel a little bit voyeuristic to watch them talk while they're in bathtubs. But anyway, I'm just happy for them as a couple. They seem like a sweet couple, and they seem like they like the same things. And I think that they show a picture of how you can find the right person for you. And I think they show a picture of just because you're on the autism spectrum doesn't mean that you want to not have those close relationships. And even though it's a struggle, it's completely worth it if it's something you want to put the time and effort into. And I feel like we can see that. I can see that in David and Abby. So you guys are awesome. I'm so happy you guys got to go to Africa. You should definitely tell Netflix where you want to go next. Tell them you want to go to Japan. Connor, okay. Connor, you didn't get first billing in this episode. I don't know why. They had you first for 3 episodes and now 4th, and you're not first anymore. But Connor goes over the date. I just wanted to speak again to, he had a date with Sasha, and in this episode, he sits down with his brother and then his mom to talk about kind of how that date went. And I just wanted to speak to his family again and say, you're doing a ton of things right. And I just love that his brother, even in his tone, never speaks to Connor like Connor is different. Oh, this show is so emotional. It really bothers me when I can tell that somebody knows that you're different and they're talking to you like you're different, even if they're not trying to. I try to have compassion because I know that some people aren't doing it on purpose. But yeah, there's definitely, like, you could hear some sort of hierarchy sometimes when people are talking to people who they think are different from them. And I don't feel that with his family. It's a fine line, as I've said before, but I don't feel that with Connor's family. I feel that they want to be a team with him and they want to see him succeed. And I love that. So way to go, Connor's family. I think it's really sweet that his mom, wants to see him have relationships out of their family and feel involved. And I mean, isn't that what all parents want for their kids? So I think you guys are doing the right things. What happens in this episode? I'd love to see that Connor and his mom do a practice phone call because Connor wants to call Sasha and say, hey, I had a good time, but I just want to be friends. Autistics do something called scripting a lot. It's how we prepare for conversations. How we get through conversations is we practice them beforehand. So I appreciate that they were able to do that together. The only thing that was a little weird to me is that conversation's going to be filmed, right? Which is scary as it is, Connor. I mean, whoa. You have to have a Netflix camera there to tell a girl you just want to be friends. Yeah, mom says, I'm just going to step out and give you privacy, but I feel like she's still in the doorway. And then his brother comes and sits next to him while he's doing the phone call. Maybe he asked for that support, but it didn't seem like he was getting much privacy. That was the only thing that kind of weirded me out. But he did a great job just explaining that he just wanted to be friends. And I thought that was really cool. So yeah, still Team Connor. And I hope that this has been a positive experience for him thus far. I can't wait to see what happens in the rest of the season. Hope he goes out on another date. James does not go on any dates in this particular episode. It seems like he's getting ready for another blind date, or he is getting ready for another blind date. And I'm interested to see who it's going to be because he said that the production staff told him it was a surprise, which in my mind means you've met her before, or they just want it to be a total blind date, but maybe it's somebody that he knows. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen there, but I hope it goes well for him. I do love that they have him talking to his dad before the date, and his dad's giving him a ton of advice. And I love it because you know how dads are. Maybe moms are like this too, but his dad really wants him to succeed, so he's giving him all of his best tidbits. And a parent that his dad hasn't dated in a while. He's been with his wife for a long time. But I think the advice that he gives is solid. But I think it also puts a lot of undue pressure on the situation. You're going to a castle, treat her like a princess. You gotta take good care of her. And, I think it just puts a little bit of pressure on that is unnecessary. I like his idea of giving her a chocolate. I just hope she's not allergic to anything. That she feels like she has to take it or something like that. I like the dynamic of showing autistic people with their parents. Not that they're the only people we spend time with. I think it's cool that they're also showing friendships, but I do know that a lot of people who are on the spectrum, their biggest and closest relationships are within their families, and they don't necessarily have deeper relationships, deeper friendships outside of that. So I do think it's important that that part is shown, because it is part, or it's going to be part of their dating experience. So yeah, I'm interested to see how the date goes with to be announced. They didn't share any of that. All we want for James is for him to find a good wife, buy a house. I want for James what he wants for himself. So hopefully it works out. All right, that was episode 4. What were your thoughts? What did you think about the dates? How do you think it's going? What did you think about the show's portrayal of autism so far? I can't wait to hear what you think, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.